War that's gone on for the past 5 decades, and still there's been no peace as Colombia's government and the FARC rebels try to work on a deal. If the current talks fail, its toll on people and the cost of war will continue to climb higher. CCTV's Begue reports.
How much does the Colombian war cost us? In 2012, Juliana Castellanos-Diaz, a professor at the University Politécnico Gran Colombiano, set out to answer the question, and 2 years later, she published a study that answers it. In the last decade, the Colombian government spent an average of $12.7 billion per year on human resources to defense materials. The study analyzes the last 2 decades of the war-related spending, for example, the security policy by former President Álvaro Uribe Vélez from 2002 to 2010. The study also details the cost of human lives. Since 1985, there have been 4.5 million displaced, 850,000 homicides, and 16,000 minors recruited in the war. Castellanos lists the government costs on both victims and former guerrilla members.
The Family Welfare Institute helps approximately 5,000 minors whose parents were guerrilla fighters, and for that they had to spend approximately $29 million in the last 10 years. We also have approximately 2.5 million minors who have been displaced because of the conflict.
It is a costly war, but even peace has its price. Consumer knowledge group Radar conducted a study called The Fiscal Cost of a Colombia in Post-Conflict that listed added costs like the demobilization of armed groups, reinsertion of former guerrilla members into civilian life, and even the continued support of Colombia's armed forces.
We must have the same level of defense spending and the same level of policing as we do now for a process of consolidation that could last 20 years. The budget, without counting on land restitution and victims' reparation, will have to be at least what we are spending now.
But Analysts insists the high cost should not be a deterrent to achieving peace, as the economic damages of 5 decades of armed conflict is even greater.
For every year of the armed conflict, we have lost 1% of our potential GDP growth. We could have duplicated the size of our economy if we hadn't had this conflict.
It may take another couple of decades to shrink war costs, but these studies are proof that Colombians are beginning to dream of a country and an economy not tied down by an armed conflict. Begue, CCTV, Colombia.